This is Hunter, y'all. It was Sunday, July 16th, 2017, and my wife Julia and I had stepped out to go to the grocery store when I happened upon him. I'd only gone with her because she'd twisted my arm too. She hates going to the grocery store, and so do I. So it was just by chance or luck that I'd happened upon Hunter as I had done that day. We were in her car, waiting for the light to change under an I-75 overpass, when I looked over to my right and saw Hunter sitting there under the overpass with his friend's dog, Ogen. I immediately saw a photo of them in my head and commented to Julia about how I'd like to cover him for this project. She said, "Why don't you?" Good question, I thought to myself. I'd thrown what Julia likes to call my, quote, man purse, end quote, in the trunk before leaving, which really is a camera bag I carry most everywhere with me that includes my camera and audio recorder for this project. So without giving it another thought, I told her to pop the trunk and got out right there in the middle of the road before the light changed. I approached Hunter and ended up spending the next hour or so talking with him right there under the overpass. Through doing so, I learned that he smelled about like any of us would if we were drifters living on the street, as he'd been doing for months at that point, and that he was a 22-year-old from Cincinnati, Ohio. He was a fascinating guy to talk with, and like many people I've approached that are homeless or drifters, he too had some great insight about life. We talked about a number of different social issues, and one passion we both shared was our interest in people. Hunter had started traveling as he had been doing to see how people interact with people, he told me. Being out on the street was a real-life, living, breathing social experiment to him. When I asked him what one bit of advice he had for you all would be, he said this.
The one piece of advice is no matter what happens, just breathe and take a second to reevaluate yourself. Ask yourself a question. Why are you feeling that way? What's making you feel that way? Like, just breathe and don't make an assumption. Just be in that moment. Don't distract yourself from not being in that moment. And if you do that, that's where animosity is created. That's where separation begins. Simple as that, really. Keep it simple. Just breathe, one breath at a time. I don't know. Everyone has their own perspective on life. Everyone kind of got to figure it out for themselves. I'd like to help people figure it out, like whatever the hell they're trying to figure out. But I can't help someone if they aren't willing to help themselves. If they want to listen to what I have to say, then great. So be it. If they don't, so be it. There'll be someone else coming along. You know what I mean?
I don't think he realized that a book I'd read called Emotional Intelligence 2.0 gives that exact same advice. To stop and just breathe for a few seconds before you respond to something or someone that has gotten to you emotionally. His advice automatically made me think of it. The big difference was I was getting the same advice from some dude I'd just met that was living on the street that I'd gotten through reading a book that was written by a guy with a doctorate in psychology. So one of them is a respected authority on such issues, whereas the other is often seen as a social misfit that so many people try to not even make eye contact with as they pass by. But isn't the advice from one just as valuable as it is from the other in this case? It is, isn't it?